wrote that book, said he had sex with a ghost.
Yeah.
It's just been too much Bobby Brown.
He mentioned that. He mentioned that in the movie.
So the movie starts off with his friend getting murdered. And I'm just like, why? Senseless killings.
Right. And it looked, the way they showed it, it looked like it could have been.
My mama tried to make it an accident. It wasn't no accident. That boy picked up that knife.
When the other boy behind him kicked him and he fell on the knife.
No.
He fell into the boy.
No.
Yeah, that's what I saw.
That boy walked up and stabbed that boy with that knife. And then when he retracted his hand, he dropped the knife. He dropped it in a very matter-of-fact way that leads me to believe that the boy was murdered.
So, of course, they had to go get his mama. That was a sad thing.
Tatiana Ali screaming.
Yeah.
She looked good, but why they bring Tatiana Ali out of retirement for this?
Well, she just decided she'll be on for a minute. She cameo. She Tatiana.
That didn't answer my question.
Since I'm not in the casting.
And I'm not asking you.
I don't know.
You just felt the need to answer. So then murdered Tatiana's boy. And on the day of Bobby Brown's grandmama funeral. So that's already a lot.
It's a lot.
And then, you know, he grows up. By growing up, I mean he turned 16, I guess.
That's something like that.
And the young man is playing Bobby Brown. He's not giving you a believable 16, but
Yeah,
okay.
he a little grown looking. But I mean, you can only do so much.
They could have kept the same boy.
The first little boy,
Yeah,
he
they
could have
just
been
put him on
16.
stilts.
I mean,
Throw him in a little piece of a mustache, now he's 16.
right? Or they just could have shot him low and made him look taller.
But he done got kicked off the tour for fighting. He turned this into making his brother Tommy his manager.
Right.
Selling drugs.
Yeah. He wasn't making quite enough money at first.
So his mama done busted him for selling drugs and he done busted her for selling drugs.
Yeah.
And I'm like, the whole movie, I'm sitting here hearing y'all's voice in my head saying, what has your father taught you about being a man?
His father seemed to be the reasonable one, though. Where she would teach him.
But Bobby still was doing the most.
He was doing the most. Some children are going to do the most. The most is their favorite thing.
Anywho, so he done got back on track. He you know, Tank came in with his afro and told him we're going to do a solo album. So we're doing a solo album. He needs a girlfriend, which my least favorite of all Bobby Brown's solo songs.
You really made him a coin, though.
I mean, a coin is always doing to us.
A coin is a coin. Not always, though.
No, coin is still a coin, even when there's no one.
Come on, person. Don't get us. Lord, got to speed up to 18-wheeler. It's too close to my hips.
So Bobby already got one child. He going out to one of these parties. I think this was before he was recording his album. But he go out to one of these parties dancing with this other girl, soon to be baby mama. This man bumps into him and pulls out a gun, threatening his life. Start shooting. Don't hit nobody, but shoot.
And somebody knocked his hand down.
And I'm just like, for what? For drugs? Because he was selling drugs on your block? I just don't understand.
Because, yeah, it really wasn't clear why he was doing that.
He said something about drugs.
But then also he was starting to get notoriety because he was starting to talk about, you know, who he was going toward being.
Well, he's already very famous, girl. New Edition was already that group. So they knew who he was. It wasn't it. It was drugs, like I said. And it just didn't make no sense. We're moving along. So now we on the tour because I'm not going bit by bit, girl. It's 5 hours of material. We on the solo tour.
In my brain nowhere.
No, he went on tour with New Edition. He was opening for New Edition.
Right.
And then he ended up being on solo tour. At one point, he was going with Janet Jackson, but Janet Jackson was going with El DeBarge, and he felt so hurt by that. And it's just like, but don't you have hoes?
You know, that's the normal thing. They can only see out. They can't see in.
I guess, girl.
It's a hot mess, but they can't.
So he was deeply saddened by Janet Jackson going with El DeBarge, which, I mean, Janet Jackson makes questionable relationship choices, but she's still my mother, so I let her have it.
Yeah. She'd be absolutely perfect.
Jermaine Dupri.
Well, she credits Jermaine for hoping her.
Hoping or what?
Hoping her feel better about herself.
Which we credit Joe for making her not feel good about herself to begin with. Moving along.
She didn't get to pick Joe.
That's not my business. I said what I said. moving along. So he was going with Janet, but you know, apparently he broke up with her because he didn't want to be the side hoe, but he had the side hoe. I don't know.
So Janet, she was treating him like the brothers do. Like, really? Why are you tripping on him?
All throughout this movie, the beginning part of this movie, he didn't do not one drug.
That wasn't his thing.
That's a lie.
He was smoking weed.
I'm talking about drugs. Weed is not drugs, baby. Weed is a plant.
That's what I'm saying. He was smoking weed.
That's not
He was
drugs.
drinking. It looked like he came into the world with a cup in his hand.
I didn't see that boy drink.
He was a drinker.
I didn't see him drink.
Okay.
But the point is, the credibility of the movie was lost, and we'll get there. But he was on tour and carrying on. At one point, the police came by, said in the state of Georgia, y'all can't be out here pretending like y'all having sex. For some reason, his baby mama came out like she was the authority on all things. What's going on here?
Don't stand in front of Bobby. No, really? They just gonna move you.
Like, and he introduced her, yeah, this is Kim, she's having my baby. Okay, that ain't got nothing to do with what we telling you. We're telling you the law here in the state of Georgia. So he get out on stage, he's singing about Roni, honey. Then called a Roni up on the stage, and they doing all this, that, and the other. He got arrested. And these beautiful red pants. Beautiful pants.
They have the sparkles on.
Thank you.
I like sparkles.
Thank you so much. So I guess Kim done had the baby. This is LaPrincia, because he already had Landon. Moving along, let's just skip over to 1989. He's at the Soul Train Awards. Whitney there. They call Whitney name. Whitney gets booed. I don't remember why Whitney got booed at the 1989 Soul Train Awards, but she got booed for something. And Bobby Brown turned around, told her that she was good. You alright, you know.
Don't let them worry you.
We love you. And then all of a sudden they just deeply in love.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. A good place word. It'll hook you.
Not me. Because I know myself, girl. You can't tell me anything that's gonna make me fall in love with you, because I already am very, very aware of me.
Everybody have different issues.
Just somebody else's business, but I'm just
That's
thinking
what I'm
about
saying.
myself.
You know, everybody got different issues.
I see it.
Different things that you know, put them on the path.
Okay. Again, me. I know me. So they in love. At one point he done cheated
With the baby mama.
with the baby mama, and then immediately went and proposed to Whitney.
He felt bad about it. You saw it on his face.
And so now they're engaged. Girl, you were just hitting this brake.
I really hit the brake in the car.
I already hit the car. Drinking me like this.
You're gonna be alright.
So they engaged, and then he gets a phone call from Kim, Bobby Jr. on the way. Whitney's upset because she also was pregnant, and so now she's just going through. She's hollering and screaming and cussing and carrying on.
Yeah, that's what you do. Actually, you cut the dude off.
That's what you do.
And
That's
these
what
go
you
let
do.
others come.
I guess it wasn't meant to be. All right, well, God bless. But what I did like about this Bobby Brown movie is they didn't tell us a whole lot of stuff that we didn't know, because I fully expected to just be bombarded that we did know. Because I expected to be bombarded with just a bunch of information I already heard.
But it was what I expected, a different perspective of the same thing.
Yes, but back to my thought is that they showed that Whitney had a miscarriage, but they didn't just outright say it, because we already know that.
Right.
So you see a scene where
And it was clear even if you didn't know what had happened, you know, so it wasn't like they had to do a whole bunch.
that's what I'm saying. So you see a scene where Whitney is on the set of The Bodyguard, and you already know what that is because we already know the story. So they didn't spend a lot of time going back on stories we already knew. You see Whitney, you see The Bodyguard set, we already know that's the miscarriage because we've heard the stories so many times. So they proceed with their relationship. They have been together they were together 3 years before he proposed. So now it's 1992, and they get married. And this is where the movie lost all credibility for me. He was locked himself in the bathroom. He was nervous. Alicia goes in there and prompts him to come out the bathroom, marry Whitney, which you can see right there. She was scheming on that man. She wanted that man.
Well, it wasn't her day. She knew it wasn't her day.
That's not my business. But moving along.
They that wait.
On Bobby Brown.
She got him.
Ugh. So anyway,
After he got out of rehab a few times and everything.
just nice, girl. I'm trying to get here because we almost
we
were.
are at the place.
Thank you. So let me finish this here. So this is where it lost all credibility for me. He comes out, they get ready to get married, but he goes and checks on her to make sure, you know, she alright, I guess, because Alicia told him to. I don't know. He goes in there and sees Whitney snorting cocaine for the first time.
Well, he said that more than once.
He lied more than once, Sweetness. Let me tell you why.
Okay, Mom.
They didn't get married till 1992, and he saw Whitney snorting coke for the first time. But in 1989, at the MTV Music Video Awards, he dropped a giant bag of cocaine on the stage while he was dancing. So what's the truth? Whitney didn't get you hooked on drugs. You gonna stop telling this lie? You gonna stop telling the lie, because I know. I let him go around and say, well, Whitney and do because I didn't know for sure. But when you put in this movie, the first time you saw Whitney doing drugs and you wasn't doing drugs was on y'all's wedding day, and then all of a sudden somehow y'all was crackheads.
I mean, whew.
Cooking crack in your mansion. You're not gonna tell this lie. I saw you in 1989 drop a giant bag of cocaine on the stage while you was dancing. Drop down, get your eagle on, scoop it up, put it back in your pocket, and keep dancing. 1989.
But you weren't born.
You didn't meet me until 1989. That don't take away from the credibility. There are still receipts.
Oh, they say retail. It's just supposed to be.
I mean, if you buy a sandwich, ain't that retail?
Young Magic, because I'm gonna pull in.
Anyway, so yeah, you're not gonna tell this a lie. This L-I, no E. So it lost credibility for me, but they got married, they had Bobby Christina. And then it just kind of skipped ahead, I feel like, to Bobby Christina being a preteen, and they was in there cooking crack in the mansion. But that might have been the next episode. Anyway, at one point, Whitney and Bobby had a fight. Bobby went out of town to back home to Baltimore, or Boston. One of the B's, honey. That's up north. Went back home to Boston. Was riding around with his sister's fiance. He looking around all suspicious like, but he decides he's steady gonna get in the car. If I see,
he felt it. He felt.
But then I wouldn't get in the car. If I see cars looming and niggas walking by that look like they finna get me, I would try to find myself somewhere safe to be. But anyway, he done got in the car. He hands Bobby a gun, say, hold this. As soon as he say that, he dead. Shot and killed. Bobby get out the car, start shooting. He running. They go to the hospital. He dead. The sister come in hollering, asking, what did Bobby do? And I'm just like, what? Well, Bobby ain't do nothing. He didn't do anything. He was sitting in the car just like your man was. But your man was gang banging. Shouldn't have been doing that. And then what really confused me was the daddy grabbed hold of him and was giving, you shouldn't have been there, son. It's a sign. The Lord is giving you a sign. And it's like he shouldn't have been hanging out with the man that's finna marry his sister. I'm lost.
Well, it was the place. The place was dangerous.
In the cars?
The place was. I took it that. Yeah, but you're not that no more. You can't just do stuff. People hate you. They hate you.
But they weren't aiming for Bobby Brown.
You sure?
They were aiming for my mama half watches stuff and then she makes opinions. The boy said no. The boy said he was a gangbanger. Lance Gross's character said he was a gangbanger. They were shooting at Lance Gross and they got him. If they was looking for Bobby Brown, they wouldn't have come up on the side of Lance Gross. Promise you.
Right.
They'd have got Bobby Brown. So that whole conversation with the daddy, you shouldn't have been there, this is a sign, didn't make no sense to me. And the whole, what did you do from the sister? Also, they made it, in the movie, they made it look like, and I don't know if in that last hour and a half they changed things, but they made it look like Bobby Brown only got one brother and one sister. They
talked about he's got one brother and the rest of them are sisters.
But they only showed the one sister.
Well, there was a scene, but even before the boyfriend got shot, where they were all in a room. It wasn't clear, but it was Bobby Brown's mother and father, a bunch of girls.
It just looked like a function to me.
That was his sisters. It was his siblings.
And Whitney playing spades.
Yeah.
And she looked like she was on crack then.
Yeah, she did.
Speaking of, as much as I love Gabrielle Douglas and I want her to do all things through Christ to strengthen her, being Whitney Houston just did not fit for me. She played Whitney well. But being Whitney Houston just didn't come together for me. She in there? Oh, well then we got to go. But it's not for her. And I may come back for a part 2, but this is where we are now. It's just, Gabrielle Douglas is not Whitney Houston. What's her name? Dennis.
Dennis.
Goodbye.